Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
There we go. Sorry, mild technical issues. Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you have not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere. There's also a PayPal, Patreon, and crypto link in the info box below the video. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and join the forum. But most importantly, if you would like to join this discussion right now, then simply click mute on the page you are currently watching. Then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected. And if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are currently joined by, let's have a look, Zinda, Sleeping Warrior, Paul, Jose, Eric, Chris, Chocolate Sayin, Warren, and Arwin. Good to have you all.
Good afternoon.
Hello. Hello.
Good morning.
Had a few
Keep on.
few technical issues, and then of course when you actually do get it to go live, you haven't got all the right buttons pressed, so I started with no sound, which is just typical. But there we go, that's technical issues for you. So got quite a big panel. Let's put you up on screen. Any signs of curvature?
No.
No, just obstruction.
Yeah,
Maybe we'll
Jose's pictures.
We'll get into that if you want to. Did you want to go straight into that? It is it a claim of curvature? I didn't hear any claims. I just heard lots of discussions about obstruction.
Yeah, no, I was asked if I had any footage or any picture to present that could be a little, that it could have a discussion about it, and I presented some pictures with big time obstruction in the bottom. I'm not claiming it's curvature, but I claim it's curvature in the same breath, you know.
Oh, we have to
Curvature
give it to
velocity.
you, Jose, for whatever your interpretation is. Your footage is really something else. Many times, so
Put that picture
have
back
to
up
give
from
kudos
the
for that.
building. Jose?
Yeah, I was not presenting it. I can't present it. It's in my phone. Somebody else was presenting
Chris
it.
was doing it, wasn't he?
I can, unless Nathan wants to. It's
Yeah. No, you go ahead.
okay.
So you took the picture from 20 miles away, wasn't it?
Yeah, in the square in the right-hand side with the red writings, is taken for 20.5 miles away. And then there's a piece of land, it's about 6 miles from the observer to the land, it's about 6 miles, and then past that is just land and land until the building, you know, is 20.5 miles away.
Oh, Jose,
and then
I
this
have
is
a,
just
I
a
have a
little
question.
little control image on Google, taking the other one.
I have a question about the layout. The water in front with the small dock, is that river or is that part of the open ocean or a very big lake?
It's like a little golf area. The open ocean is behind me. So this part is like in a little golf area, you know, it's enclosed pretty much.
All right, but that water in the close-up picture, that is like a river or
It's ocean water, yeah. It's the
oh, it is of the open ocean. Okay, so there's not any more land or anything in between you.
No.
and
From my observer to the piece of land is water, and then as I say, it's like a high little piece of land. It's a little freeway in the top.
Mhm.
There's a fence, and then past that is just a bunch of whatever big city over there. Small houses, but it's trees and houses, and then the building.
And also what I can make up from this is that there's a lot of boating going on there, probably.
Boating behind me and to the right, but in this point of view where I was looking to the building, there was no boats whatsoever. No.
Oh,
These
really?
little sticks, the sticks sticking up that look like crosses, that's like a big fence blocking the little freeway, you know, the street where the cars go by.
Jose, what's your observer height?
Observer height, I mean, that was a little contagious because on Google Earth, which I don't, on my phone, doesn't give me heights, it says 12 foot. But then in my Dioptra app, it told me 16 foot. So we can use 12 foot plus a 5-foot tripod, you know. So about 17, you can do 15 foot to round it up. Make it a little
How
lower.
tall is this building?
Phew. I mean, it has about 26 or 27 story building. I'm not sure how high it is.
Yeah, but more than half of it's obstructed, isn't it?
Yeah, I say a little less because the piece of land is blocking a couple of the floors of the building.
Yeah, so it's
So-
round about half from 20 miles.
Yeah, about that.
But so it's obviously not curvature, is it? Because if you, like I've said to you before, if you look on
it's
the
stretched. It's stretched. Look at the top.
if you look on the y-axis, you don't see the amount of curvature you're seeing on the x-axis, do you? So it can't be curvature.
Yeah, it's a short span from left to right. I don't have 20 miles from left to right in one shot, you know. I can take maybe a picture, not zoom in the open ocean, that maybe I can get a shot of 20 miles across left to right, but then you gotta put it in a computer, very fine tune it and throw a line left to right, measure the pixels, whatever you gotta do, which people, I mean, it's a tricky one to have a left to right curvature. Now in this one, I maybe have a mile left to right, but then I got 20 plus miles looking forward.
What do you mean it's tricky?
Well, it's tricky because I don't have
understand
a
the
computer.
trickiness.
I don't have a computer and throw a super thin line from left to right and then measure the pixels. That's why it's tricky to me on a phone.
No, but what I mean by it's tricky is that it's a ball, so it should just be curving away.
No, I'm talking left to right, you know, throw a line and measure
Yeah,
pixels. That's
yeah.
tricky.
A ball curves left to right too, Jose.
Yeah,
You know
it's
that.
tricky to do in the phone, yeah.
Am I the only one here that is seeing that the footage that Jose actually took seems to be stretched at the top?
It is. It's probably due to magnification or something.
It is stretched to the top, I agree.
Yeah. Like more vertically stretched in comparison to horizontal. It just seems
Correct.
longer than it really is. So there's some serious weird miraging stuff going on here.
But we
I'm
know
gonna
that the
post-
compression thing, the thing with the compression point is that you can interpret the compression from the bottom, or you could also say it's being stretched from the top.
I'm gonna
Change it
post
the
one
opposite way.
one more picture that I took from 8 miles away, the same building. So give me 1 minute and I'm gonna post it in the Skype chat.
Well, it kind of depends then on what the air layers were doing. Maybe,
So how much?
maybe Life is Short would have a good explanation for what is happening in that photo.
Before he puts his pick up, how much of the building do you think you're going to see from his 8 mile picture?
Well, half of it will be missing because of the trees and the land in the foreground, right?
Yeah. But how far is the horizon, whether it's a fake horizon or not? How they say it's 3 miles, between 3 and 6 miles, don't they? Is your horizon?
It depends. You'd have to do the
There
geometric
you go.
maths on it.
It's
But
there. It's in Skype. This is the one with the parallax, which shows the lighthouse and the building in the same shot. But the lighthouse is closer, about 4 miles, and then the building is about 8 miles. Now, the angle I was taking the picture, they look side by side, but we're just looking at the building in this case.
That's from 8 miles.
Yeah. Pretty much in the base where the picture is taken is where the water pretty much starts, you know.
So from 8 miles, you can see practically all of the building. And from 20 miles, half of it's gone. So in 10
can't see it
miles,
from. How can you see all of it when it's been obstructed by trees and it sits lower than the trees in the foreground?
No, but if you take away the trees, you could see all the building, wouldn't you? Take away the building that's in front of it, and the trees and that house. That's all of the building.
Yes,
at 8 miles.
Someone watching
It's like the
trees are like 30-foot trees.
Sorry, guys, can you just bear with me? Someone watching the back chat. I think Captain.
Yes, I got it. Who?
Captain Caps Lock. I don't know. I think he has been on the show, but I'm not 100% sure whether.
Okay,
or not that's
speak
the real
out.
one.
Is he here?
No, he dropped.
Okay, I'll
immediately.
kick him. Whoop, he's gone.
It's gone.
Sorry
Yeah,
to
if we
interrupt.
take the trees, if we take away the trees, I think we should be seeing the whole building and the lighthouse also. You know, we should be seeing the missing stripes on the lighthouse, which adds up with the control image. You know.
Yeah, so this is 8 miles, and you can see all of the building, but 20 miles, half of it's gone. So you're saying you've got at least 100 foot of curvature in 10 miles.
You know the height of the building itself? Have you looked that up?
I think it's about 150.
Yeah. It's the Endeavor condominium is called in Galveston.
So why is there no curvature from 0 to 8 miles, but then you get loads of curvature from 8 to 20?
I'm still wrapping my mind
there's no
around all these
curvature.
observations. It is cool. I like it. I like seeing these observations. It's a little mind-boggling to me.
Well, it looks like it's going back to Arwin's optical slant, isn't it?
To answer your question, it's just that there's no curvature. That's all that is.
Yeah, you got the vanishing point of the horizon, and then you got the building higher than your eyesight can visualize, and then it's behind the optical slant. So that's why it's disappearing, not from curvature. See what I
This
mean?
building, it has to be at least 200 foot high or a little more, because this lighthouse is about 150 foot and it's a few miles closer to the building, and the building's still higher.
God.
Yeah, I'm still working on it, so I'm gonna maybe in the next few days try to organize better with all the coordinates, the distances, the heights, draw lines on the maps, you know, and try to put something a little more concise, at least explaining the observations, where I took them from, what I was watching, and to see if
Hey, Jose,
it can be broken down.
Jose, if
better.
you leave that town without having more photos of that lighthouse, you're never going to get closure on that point, you know.
Yeah, never. I know, and I'm banging my head for it. Yeah.
I'd do some more footage on looking from the y-axis, trying to get as much distance as you can on the y-axis to see if there's as much curvature as you're seeing over 20 miles with this one. And you won't.
Yeah. No, and Riley, I got a lot of footage on this close observation, the 8 miles away, and the 20 miles away also. It was very hazy. It was foggy. It was a lot of mirroring and miraging. But I still gonna add it up to because I gotta cross-reference what difference makes with different weather conditions, and I got few difference with different heights also. So I'm gonna try to compile everything in one video.
Jose, can you post the 20-mile shot again in the Skype?
Yeah. 1 second.
You know, I wish somebody would do what Waza said and find a curvature on the other axis. We've never seen it, and we'll never see it. It doesn't exist.
We're not seeing on this. We're not seeing curvature on this axis. If this is alleged to be curvature, they're claiming that there's a curve rising up between us and it, causing it to be obstructed, along with other effects of perspective that are never accounted for mathematically. But nevertheless, we seem to be talking about this in very vague terms. But is it curving? Well, no. It's all nice and parallel. Where's the curve? I don't see any curve.
In the last image I posted, there's the title of the video. It's in my channel, and there's the timestamp where that screenshot was taken from. So if you pull the video, you can see it in motion, how it happens. Maybe play a few seconds of it if somebody is willing to do it. I think it's better
So-
to see it in in real time.
So the other thing I wanted to say on this, at least on this picture, one explanation as far as why it looks like it's half of it is cut off or some portions cut off. I mean, so we've already talked about, obviously there's atmospheric distortion to play, and nobody can doubt that, right? There's stretching at the top, maybe there's compression or mirroring at the bottom, like who knows? But everyone's seen the Skunk Bay video, right,
The
Jose?
mobile phone. I'm sorry, I dropped my mobile phone, kicked me. I'm back.
I was just saying, one explanation for your 20-mile hotel shot is the Skunk Bay video. You've seen the Skunk Bay video, right? Time lapse.
Yeah, I see.
So, at the beginning of the video or close to it, you can see pretty much the entire, I guess it's a town they're showing, I don't know, like houses and stuff, a bunch of houses. And then some way through the middle of the video, which I have on screen now, it's completely covered up by what appears to be water in the water line. So if you didn't know any better, you would look at this portion and say it was the water covering it. But then if you go back, sometime, here we go. Now you can see pretty much the whole beach and houses and everything. So we know, so again, like if we look at yours, we know that's a real thing, atmospherics and distortion, and whether it's magnification, whether it's compression, whether it's refraction, there's no way to look at your photos and say if it's due to curvature or due to atmospherics.
Heard. I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you. I know. So yeah, as I said, I got more footage, different conditions, and this long piece of footage that I have the original, to see what I can make a conclusion out of it. If I see any type of magnification or atmospheric conditions, like very visible, something changing, then we'll see what happens.
Yes. You asked someone to show the video. Is it on your YouTube channel?
Yeah, the last picture I posted, yeah, it's called unedited footage from Galveston. It's about a 27 minutes video, but maybe you can play from 20 minutes.
That's one of Ranty's pictures, isn't it, Nathan? You're showing.
Yeah, it's a side profile of the wind turbine. So if I can just catch it, I might not be able to. No, I missed it. Yeah, he's got the wind turbines that showed maybe 10 or 12 frames earlier that are looking like they're falling away, coincidentally in a linear fashion in line with perspective. You then go side on and obviously they're all lined up perfectly. But prior to that, it was alleged that the linear disappearance of things that get smaller towards the horizon with perspective is actually Earth curve. Well, we've now since discovered that that's precisely what they do assert in the way they assert it. In other words, they ignore perspective and replace all aspects of perspective, linear disappearing into the distance, with a claim of curvature, while simultaneously ignoring the fact that things get smaller into the distance. There we go. That's how they've tricked us.
Can you recall the distance that was across the y-axis?
I honestly can't remember.
In there is called unedited wave videos.
Yeah,
27 minutes. You can play in 20 minutes timestamp.
Oh no, I just found the unedited footage from Galveston, but
unedited waves. Yeah, it's a 27-minute video.
Waves.
It's a 27-minute video, but the screenshot I took was in 20 minutes.
Yeah, like many good stuff to look at, right?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
You want me to show the?
Yeah, if you can screen share the video and play it in 20 minutes, which there's the footage on the actual building
sure.
in real time.
Wait a moment. That one, right?
Yes, sir.
Or shall I go a bit further back, like here? Anyway.
Oh, look at that! Look at that water tower missing half of it behind that piece of land. Amazing.
So I guess the building is the farthest one away, right? With
Yeah,
the
yeah.
most distance from you.
Yes. Yeah, I was spanning around and around until I got to the building in a minute.
Oh yeah, I think you will go back there, or I can go back again, like here. Here you go to the building.
Yes, yes.
Shall I go back to 1945? Okay, it goes back to 1945. So yeah, here again the building, and I think will be like until 2012. So nice.
Yeah, there you can see the movement, the water, and then the land. You can see it there in movement, and it's like a fence. You see those long poles.
Yep.
It looks like there's a giant wave just beyond the first horizon. Looks really weird.
So can I turn the video off?
Yeah. Thank you, Tinder. Appreciate it. At least, I mean, it's on video, that one screenshot. It was not just a picture, so it's in movement. Anybody want to take a look and break it down, you're welcome.
So let me share something one more time to sort of compare to and see if it's something that we can use to explain, you know, the missing buildings.
Oh yeah, sure.
So,
Go into the...
so obviously I didn't take this video, but this is the plane taking off. And so if we were to look at this view, well, we see some miraging already, which is fine. But basically, what you would do, or what a baller would do, is they would look at this what looks like a hard horizon line, right, the water line. And you would say, okay, anything that's sticking up and missing the bottom is because of some sort of curvature obstruction, right? So we see this hard horizon line.
But that's for an average baller that haven't done any observations and explored these optical phenomena. I know how to see the optical phenomena going there.
Right, but anybody would look at this and say, look, there's a hard horizon line because it's all the way across.
Yeah.
So right here, I see some stuff sticking up. I'm presuming those are plane tails. So we'd say, oh, well, the plane is being covered by the, not covered, or covered by the curvature, right? But then if we go to the video, up to the video,
can you make it full screen, please, Chris?
Yeah. You would say, oh, look, here's the tail of the plane taking off. So it's got to be, look, it's a hard horizon line, right? It's got to be the curvature. But when we watch it, we then realize that it's just coming out of the refractive zone, right?
Yeah. Zinder, stop playing StarCraft and presenting it, or I'm gonna kick you.
So we know that this entire plane is only obstructed because of the refracted hidden miraging effect, or whatever the hell it's called.
In this case, yeah, I can agree with that. Yes.
Hey,
well, in this case, what I'm saying, if we can explain this one with this atmospheric condition, we could potentially explain them all with that atmospheric condition.
But it's visible when the mirroring, this type of effect takes place. It is observable in my photo, at least in that one footage. Not bragging, but it was not observable. It was no miraging whatsoever.
Well, that's your opinion. You haven't taken the photo and fully analyzed it.
Bro, I seen that 27 minutes video. I seen it 20 times, bro. Believe me, frame by frame. I took hours looking at that footage, man.
So we can
looking for that mirroring effect. Yeah.
Right. So in this case, it's just coincidence that the entire plane is hidden, but in your case, it's not.
Yeah, in many cases it's not. Yeah, in many cases it's not, and in many cases it is.
Well, so in the Skunk Bay video, there's no mirroring. It's just what appears to be a hard water line covering the town. There's absolutely no mirroring when the water's above the town. There is some when it's below it, but when it goes above it, you can't see any mirroring. And in fact, in this shot right here, I would argue you don't see any mirroring, right? At least where the plane is. It's when the plane comes up and over the refracted zone or whatever.
Yeah, and as I said, I got other videos with mirroring and the refraction and haziness and But I mean, from the top of the building down is the same. Now in the bottom part is all this haziness and mirroring taking place. So I will add it up whenever I compile the videos on the same observation, different conditions. Just as a comparison, that's what I want to do, present, different conditions. As Riley told me, try to take footage different times of the day, different conditions, different tides, different heights. And then, it's easier for people to discern what's going on with the effects taking place.
Or you talk to me.
No, I say that is good, the advice you gave me on taking the footage of the same structure, different times of the day, different conditions,
Yeah,
then to
yeah,
compare.
definitely.
Yeah. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna compile. I got 3 or 4 different days, different times, different conditions on the same building and the lighthouse, I think also. And I'm gonna try to compile them in one video with the dates and the weather conditions, the temperature, water, and air, and then people can discern what's going on and come to their conclusion. I just like to present. I hate interpreting the footage, even though I'm still gonna interpret it and make a little fun and do my jokes. But you can mute, anybody can mute the footage and just look because the footage speaks by itself.
Kind of strange in all these pictures of the supposed curvature of buildings and stuff. You never see buildings at a slant.
Yeah, it's never curving away, despite the fact it's claimed there's a curve that's risen up between you and it, and then it's curved away beyond that obstruction, but it never actually curves.
There's an elevator. When the things start to disappear, they go zzz, elevating straight down. Sorry, I had to say it.
There's vertical displacement going on.
Yeah,
Even
right.
in the different warpings of what you see at the horizon, like the stretching of the top part of the building, sometimes compressing, that just proves it. There's vertical visual displacement going on. And that's it. There's no turning. All remains in the same orientation. Whatever is pointing up will still point up.
Simple perspective. The stuff in the foreground's bigger than the stuff in the background.
It's good.
Have you had anyone contact you about the angle of attack challenge, Zinder?
No, not yet, sadly. The only guy who contacted me was Bob the science guy, and he didn't show me any evidence or whatever. It just it just wrote that he was interested in to see the requirements for the challenge. Yeah. But no one actually should send me any footage whatsoever.
Yeah, but that's what I meant by interest. So somebody's contacted you and said, I'm interested in doing it, basically. That's good. Excellent.
Is there a deadline? Is there a deadline, Zinner?
Oh, yeah. When the year is over, the deadline.
All right.
That's the deadline. Because I don't want to be responsible for... If nobody manages to complete the challenge, I don't want to be responsible for my entire life for the challenge, right? Mm-hmm. So I want to have a deadline, not that like when I'm 50 years old, I get like an email and someone then really expects me to answer it, right? So yeah.
Right.
So Cinder, I got footage on the angle of attack working, but I wasn't sure if the floor was straight. I didn't have any type of measurement verifying that the floor was straight and level. Does that count?
Well,
No,
have you read the requirements for the challenge?
Yeah. I guess that doesn't count. Thank you.
Okay, no problem.
I was just being facetious. I take it back. Fair enough, Jose. Ha ha ha. Slow clap.
That's good though. Yeah, I'll give it to me.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the challenge in essence. You're going to make sure your floor's flat first to disprove beyond any reasonable doubt that you've got an obstruction from the floor itself. Now, I'll hold back my casting disdain on that notion, but it's perfectly reasonable to demand that you prove it's flat if you're going to say this is an obstruction caused on a flat surface because of perspective. So I don't see any issue with that. But yeah, you've absolutely got to prove it to some degree or another.
Well, because my claim right now kind of stands the same as before, that when an object is below the observer and let's say, how should I call it? Like, all right, when you look at an object, no other object that is below the observer and the object you look at can obstruct it if it is below your line of sight. That's kind of my claim. Like, an object that is lower than you can't block your line of sight if it theoretically should remain free. So yeah, but the angle of attack kind of says like the floor makes things disappear button first, right? So I'm really happy to see footage that would prove it.
It'd be nice if a few of the people we've mentioned, like Life is Short, actually just did drop you a line and just touch base with you and said, yeah, I am actually going to be doing this.
And to give an idea, it could be with a water level, very long water level. It could be with a laser light, right? It could be with a tension line, like solid. I mean, it's one of the ways of measure is straight, you know.
Yeah, look, like also there are like I think there are devices or like tools they use for when they build buildings or whatever, or they make landscapes. There, the tool that proves that the line of sight between the aperture and the object you look at is free. There is a sensor, and when you shine at it, you can measure the distance towards an object, right? So that would be all right too. Because the problem with lasers is if you don't have a strong enough laser, you won't get that far over a certain distance, because the laser starts to lose its power. At some point, you won't see it anymore, especially when on daylight, right? It's kind of impossible sometimes.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. I just want to. Some people in the chat, they say that test has been done 100 times over. So please contact Cinder and present your evidence. Thank you.
Yeah, well said. You know, you're going to get a lot of people. That's why Jose is being facetious. So, you know, there's going to be a ton of people who are armchair quarterbacks saying that's been done already, or I've done it already. I could be that guy, but you have to actually read what Cinder's put in the challenge and actually meet it, rather than saying I've done that already. No, we haven't. Well, unless you've gone out and got whatever your method may be, proof that the floor's flat, you haven't done it. So yeah, well said, Jose.
Yeah, Cinder is the man. Cinder is the man to beat now with this.
Hey, P.
So,
Hi.
another thing one might do is to prove the floor is flat. Like if you have a big roll of plastic or whatever, you can roll you can roll through the ground, right? And when you take a line and like make it you draw a line on the plastic that is perfectly straight, and when you put it on the floor, the line should remain straight if the surface is flat. If the surface is curved a little bit, you can see it by looking at the line, right? So that would be like a way around too, like if you don't want to use lasers or anything. Or any measuring tool.
That's a very smart one. Yeah, in a clear plastic, stretch it, throw a straight line on the plastic, stretch it, and then use a zoom camera just to zoom in on the line drawn in the plastic. And as the train track, if we zoom in a train track, you're gonna see a little bit of curve left to right. Even though with your own eyes or with a phone, you're gonna see it 100% straight. But if you zoom in, you're gonna see the imperfections And yeah, that's a really good idea. I mean, I get it. I can picture that done in my mind.
And I think I found the tool I meant. Here I'm going to just show you what I meant. Like this tool, do you guys recall it? Like on the when people build stuff, they use the electronic distance measurement tools, and if you apply it right, you can prove that there is a direct line of sight to the object, and that's everything I need. I just need to know that there is a direct line of sight that isn't obstructed by anything physical, and so the object should be visible towards the device, yet it might appear to get obstructed by the camera. Right? Because I don't think that the angle of attack thing has an influence on such devices, but I might be wrong on such measurement devices.
Cinder, everything, there's no exception. Everything has a diffraction limit, without exception.
Thank you, guys. I gotta get out of here. Appreciate it. I'll join in another day.
Thanks, Jose.
I'm not sure how the diffraction limit applies on that one, because it isn't a camera. It just needs to detect. It just needs to detect the signal of the device they point at, right? So, I would have to research it further. Like, you know, the refractor, the EDM. I don't know how the diffraction limit applies to such devices.
Okay. I mean, do you think that that device would allow you to see to New York from where you are?
Oh no, it won't.
So there's a limit to how far it can see then?
Yeah, obviously there is atmosphere that
you seem
between
to.
them.
Oh, so you think that if there was no atmosphere, hypothetically speaking, that device
And
would
the
allow
Earth
you
was
to see
flat?
to, that device would allow you to see to New York?
Well,
Really?
if the Earth was flat and there was no atmosphere, then it would allow you to not to see to New York. It would allow to recognize the device that gives off a signal from New York to, I don't know, to Europe or whatever.
But doesn't it rely on the optics to do that, Cinder?
It relies on there's one device that gives off a signal, right? And I think it is in the radio waves spectrum. I don't remember.
I take it all back. I take it all back. I didn't know. I thought it was purely optical.
Yeah, it is. You can't see the. It isn't operating in visible light. Let's say. Yeah. So I don't know how the diffraction limit works on that. Probably if you would put like the distance would be like millions of miles, the device wouldn't be strong enough to.
It wouldn't be. It wouldn't be the diffraction limit. That's based on the size of the aperture. So it'd be the inverse square law based on the amount of power it has.
Yes, it is based on the amount of power. Exactly.
Yeah, so it would be the inverse square law.
I think so. Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, that's me not knowing either. So it's me being cocky and assuming I know what I'm looking at on screen because it looks like something I recognise. But it's not, so that's my bad. Sorry.
No problem. But I just wanted to say, like, I would also accept such sort of devices. If you can't do it with a laser, if you are some such devices available, because maybe you work on on building stuff or whatever, maybe you can use it too.
If I use the old-fashioned method and just got like a really long pipe and filled it with water and just checked that it was level at both ends, would that suffice? I.e., the water would serve as a level. Would that suffice?
Yes, that would be good too.
So you would concede that water makes a good level, like buildings.
Well, depends on what distances, obviously, because you won't be able to take such a pipe and stretch it towards the horizon, right? It's kind of too much to ask to a person.
Sure, it just
Can you do it in
seems
sections? I'm sorry.
It's the irony I was focusing on, that, you know, obviously to produce level floors for many years you would use a water level, spirit level,
Yes.
right? Well,
Yes.
that's because it finds its rest. When it finds its rest, it's level, right?
Yes.
Okie
So
dokie.
over the distance of buildings, obviously, I mean, I think you're a little bit referring towards the Earth curve, right? And so obviously on a spherical planet, there are surfaces that aren't affected by the Earth's curve, right? Because there are unevenness. There's an unevenness to the ground, right? So there are mountains, there are valleys, there are rivers, whatever, right? So the Earth curve only affects those things in a large scale, I would say. But
Well, no.
obviously, I can't prove it.
Well, you can.
Right now.
When you have any of those indiscrepancies from flat, then the water flows. So if, for instance, you had your example with a mountain, then the water would flow down it, wouldn't it? But when it reached, let's say, a reservoir where it would pool and ultimately remain flat at rest.
Yeah.
But,
then there. Go on. Sorry.
But well, I was just going to say, but contrasting that with the assumption that it's never, ever on a flat surface. It's always curving around a sphere when at rest.
Yeah, I mean, the Earth's curve in terms of the valley, I think, is negligible. So I don't think it really matters. But I don't know, to be honest.
But of course it does. This is when people are doing these tests over lakes, observations over lakes. Well, obviously they're doing it over the water for a reason.
Yeah, over big lakes, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I thought like a little lake, like a little pond, like when.
But now we've got to this point, Cinder. Do you see what I'm trying to say? It's acceptable to say yes, water is a useful tool for determining whether or not a floor is flat. However, when it reaches equilibrium, when it reaches its destination, when it's stopped going down any of the undulations that deviate from flat, it then rests and is still displaying the same properties. It's still flat when at rest. But the assertion from your side of this argument would be no. Even though we can use that exact same fluid to ascertain whether or not a floor's flat, if it's big enough, it no longer is flat and is actually curved. But I'm just trying to contrast those two things, the fact that it's a useful tool for proving things are flat, and yet if it's big enough, it stops proving things are flat. Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of what I would say. But I know when you put it that way, obviously it sounds completely ridiculous. But that's what I believe.
It is completely ridiculous. And you know, a nice body of water that's big enough, it's not going to stop being flat because of this gravity that's asserted because of Cavendish. It's just nonsense. It's still flat, obviously, right?
We have different opinions of the topic, so
we do.
I mean, say,
yeah, it's fair enough though. I mean, it's like National Geographic. They say, look, this boat's disappearing bottom first, until someone points out that the horizon it should be disappearing behind, if it's asserted that Earth curve is obscuring it, is actually behind the boat. So yeah, people have these strange ideas about what water does. They think it's curving up and obscuring things, even though the horizon is behind whatever's being obscured. But there we go. That's just one of those things we'll have to agree to disagree on, I guess.
Yeah, I agree. I agree to disagree on that with you. But at the end, I think time will tell who is right and who not. Maybe, maybe one day, like, I don't know, in 40 years or whatever, maybe space travel will be available to people, or maybe will not. So at the end, I think we will get to the answer sooner or later. So
no, we'll never be going to a region that can't exist. I mean, I could say maybe in 40 years' time we'll get to go to the magical world of Narnia, because one day we'll figure out how to go through that wardrobe, Cinder. You and I together will hold hands and walk into that magical wardrobe, and we will discover what Narnia one day. Now, you can believe that if you want, but Narnia's not real, and neither is space. It's an impossibility. It doesn't exist, Cinder. It's just nonsense.
Yeah, I would like to go to Narnia.
Maybe in 40 years, they'll have a hotel on the moon.
Sure.
Oh no, they said that 40 years ago, didn't they? Mm.
Well, they said a lot of things long time ago. They wanted to go to Mars like in 1990 or whatever. They planned to go to Mars in 1990, so they didn't.
Yeah, but how many times do they say? How many times do they have to say they're going to do something, and then decades later they don't do it? For you to say, "Hang on, they're up to something here. They're not doing what they say they're going to do."
Well,
how long does it have to be before you think they're bullshit? They're lying.
Well, they never claimed they went to Mars with humans, right? So I don't know if it isn't lying if you say we will go there and you set a goal and you don't reach the goal. All right, you just fucked up, right? Sorry, but it isn't lying, right?
If
there is a website where a guy keeps track of all this
They can't go there. It's an impossibility. They'd have to travel into a medium that doesn't exist, Cinder, like the wardrobe.
Well, space. I think space does exist in terms of, obviously it exists in terms of what is between molecules, right? What is between atoms. There is something that you can say, all right, there's something else between those things that we don't. Ether.
Okay, I'll restate it. There's always one. Outer space.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe it doesn't exist. Maybe it does. I don't know.
But if it doesn't exist, Cinder, yeah, people aren't travelling out into it with little robots to discover water on Mars, are they? Because that's a lie. They can't possibly be travelling through a medium that doesn't exist, i.e. the vacuum of outer space. That's an impossibility. So if they say they're going to Mars in a spaceship, outer spaceship, travelling through a vacuum, they're lying.
Well, since I believe in gravity, I see no problem with outer space, but obviously we already discussed it so many times.
Why do you think gravity changes anything?
Because gravity would pull down the atmosphere towards Earth until there is like a pressure gradient, and at some point gravity will.
Hey Scott McQueen, how you doing? Can you hear us? Still got the rest of the panel?
I can hear you.
I'm still here.
Got to come back in a few minutes. Sorry.
Hey, look at the side chat in Google, in Hangout. I pasted a link. This guy, he was keeping track of every single time that they said they're gonna go to space. Not they, meaning consumer space travel. And he gave up in 2008. He got tired of this bullshit. But it's a great little timeline. Take a look.
How long ago he gave up?
He gave up in 2008. But he started in
2008, you said.
Yeah, he's like, fuck it, they're not going. Click on the link. It's hilarious. It's a great little it's a great little site.
Where did you post it in the back chat?
Google Hangout chat. It's spacefuture.com/tourism/timeline.shtml.
Can someone post that in the other chat too? Other back chat?
What's the other back chat?
Well, I don't know. Back chat is another chat that Google has.
No,
wherever you just posted it, I can't get to it because I'm on a mobile. I don't think I have that. So.
I just put it in the live feed.
Say again, Paul.
I just put in the live feed on the on YouTube live feed.
Feed. I don't know. I can't find it.
Wow, this is a ton of research, isn't it?
It's great. I found it on that subreddit I told you about on Reddit, not a globe. It was on there. But it's very some of the links are dead because the company's defunct. They don't, you know.
Nathan, you got it?
Yeah, I've got to hand it up on screen for the audience.
Any way you could post it in Skype?
Yeah, no worries.
Please, thank you. By the way, Nate, I wanted to say congratulations. I didn't know you were expecting another kid, so congrats on that. I didn't hear that until yesterday. It's awesome.
Long now.
Say goodbye to sleep.
Say that again, Chocolate.
No, you heard me. I said congratulations.
Oh, brilliant! Thank you. My wife was just distracting me, asking me for something when you said it. Yes, indeed. She's looking very pregnant.
It was me because I just had my second kid, and I said say goodbye to sleep.
Say goodbye to sleep.
Yeah, I've already done that 2.5 years ago.
Shit is about to get real.
Me and my wife are talking about having a second one, so I definitely remember those.
It's very hard. I hope you still do your show.
Yeah, definitely. I don't see any reason why not. It just might be I talk a bit less if I've got a screaming kid on my lap the first year. But I managed when Eleanor was first born, so I don't see any reason why it would be a problem.
Lots and lots of coffee. Or is that tea? Do you drink tea, Nathan?
Or some coffee, did you say? I've got a terrible cold. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. Lots and lots of coffee. And then I asked you, oh, you probably drink tea, so I'm sorry. I forgot about that.
Hello, Flat Earth Data. How you doing?
Good. Hello.
Hello.
What's up, Data?
You're going to get the last few words in, Flat Earth Data, because we're rounding out in about 5 minutes.
Have you finished off?
No, we're still live. Just saying we're going to round out in about 5 minutes' time.
Fair enough. What's up, Chocolate Stain?
Good, bro. How you doing?
Did you get the link, Chocolate?
Yeah. Nathan posted it in Skype, so I got it. I'll check it out. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm really curious to check that out too. It sounds really interesting. It's funny. I remember in the early ~90s with Richard Branson. You guys remember the hype behind that when Virgin came out, and there was all this insurance talk about how he was hard to insure, and then I think a movie came out about the character, and pretty interesting times in the '90s with Richard Branson and the Virgin Galactic space exploration program. You guys know much about it?
Yeah, they were doing
it's on the timeline.
The drop launches. Yeah,
I was right on that as a kid, so
that was old.
Remember how
that was
it was so mind blowing, wasn't it?
No, it was recycled. Yeah. So all of the stuff that Virgin were testing with their ship that they dropped off the back of a jumbo jet and then it accelerated, that was all from the 60s. That was all old technology. Like it'd all been done before.
Elon Musk is the new Richard Branson for the new generation.
He
is.
Exactly.
Before that, it was Von Braun, and before that, I don't know what you put. After Elon, it'll be some other bloke.
Did you see Obama's video there when he was saying in a press meeting? He goes, "For us to advance in space technology, we need to stop using." Basically, he was suggesting that we're still using the same old space technology from the Apollo missions in the '70s. And this is only like 2000. Yeah, this is like 2013, man, in a press conference. I'll dig up the video.
Warp drive.
But
no warp drive, mate.
Yeah, I laugh because, I mean, I remember Richard Branson, man. I really believed it as a kid. You know what I mean? I really had faith in this guy that I was going to go to space. I was going to save up $100,000. I was going to take this like, I mean, I had a motivation to save up $100,000 for a flight ticket or something. I was like, how much does it cost? How much does it cost? I want to go. I'm signing up. You know,
the problem with humans is that they die, and then you have a whole fresh new set of retards that you can brainwash.
I wouldn't consider that a problem. I would consider that a very good thing, because not only do stupid people die, but the people in power die too. So thankfully, they haven't figured out a way to live forever entirely. And
but the ideas are passed on really through the secret societies. That's what they are. That's the problem.
Yeah, I'm wondering if everything sort of implodes eventually. You'd think this New World movement, New World Order movement, hasn't imploded entirely. You know, it's been pretty successful in gaining. I mean, if you look at the United States, it's all Roman Catholic Jesuit trained people in power now. That's the first time in history that, you know, Donald Trump's cabinet has ever been Roman Catholic Church, all of them, like Jesuit trained, and he's a Zionist on top of that. So it's yeah, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, rounding off Flat Earth, but yeah, Richard Branson is you know, he was inspirational as a kid to me, man. He was a billionaire. He was skydiving. You know,
I like how he.
I think that's one of the reasons why we catch so much flack. We're taking away people's space fantasies.
Well, I remember Albert Pike's quote: "If the people needs a hero, we will supply him." And that's all these people are. These people are just little heroes. Because you think about the inspiration that they give, the imagination, the enthusiasm. You know, that's all it is. Imagination, enthusiasm. You can do it. It's possible. You know.
I mean, you look at someone like Elon Musk, and you're like, okay, so he was just like a software dev, and he started a couple of startups, you know, in Visual Basics or C++ or whatever software, and he made, you know, some PayPal, and suddenly he's an expert in jet propulsion. Like, how did that happen? Where did he get this time?
You know, it's written in page 52 of Werner von Braun.
Werner von Braun, Elon, the 10 men from the Mars. Yes.
Yeah, it's on page 52 of that book, and talks about Elon being the savior and going to bring the science frontier to Mars. And it's funny because when you look,
the Elon comes from his book, and his book is a fiction. It's a fiction book, but it's kind of like a plan of how to get to Mars. And Mars is ran and governed by 10 men, and the 10 men, they elect one person to rule the 10 men. He's like the president of the 10 men, being like the senators, and that person has an anointed name, and his anointed name is Elon. So whoever is head of Mars is Elon. What are the odds of that? I don't know.
And not only what are the odds of that, if you listen to every speech, and I've not every speech, but a large majority of speech when he's talking about Mars, he will always use these words. He will seem, notion. You know what I mean? It would never be like these. It would be these wizard words that would inspire this tingled sensation of the possibility. You know, and that's all the job is. And it reminds me of Albert Pike again.
Presuppositional storytelling.
Yeah. Excuse me. Pardon me. And it's got to be the point where it's comical too, right? I mean, it's not comical that they lied to us, but it's comical now.
To the point, serious. It's already there.
Yeah,
we have a car floating in space, supposedly.
Oh, I fucking laugh. I laughed.
And with that, I'm going to say, first and foremost, a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the live audience for tuning in and hopefully sharing this debate. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and go to the forum to keep up to date with the forum Flat Earth Debate, or the community Flat Earth Debate. Also, a massive thank you to all of the debating panel for making this debate possible. Be sure to like, comment, share and subscribe. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!